much financial regulation.
Yeah, the bill, from what I gather, is constantly in flux and changing. I think what's the key is the principle here, which is we have to have strong oversight and to make sure that we never repeat this crisis. You know, I think for the average Kansan out there, you know, for a lot of us, it was unbelievable to learn about the abuses on Wall Street, about what some reckless CEOs were doing, what some of the greedy banks were doing, and so I think that we have to have accountability and transparency in that process to make sure that this never happens again. It is, you know, as I like to say, you know, Kansans didn't cause this mess, but I'm pretty sure some Kansas values of accountability and reality and transparency could help solve it. And so I think for my purpose, what needs to happen up there is to make sure that we obviously have a great, you know, we have a great understanding of what caused the crisis, but more importantly, to make sure that we do enact strict measures that crack down on the folks who caused this and make sure it just does not happen again. We have to do that. It's our debt, frankly, to the taxpayers of Kansas to make sure that we avert a crisis like this again in the future.
And Mike.
I would oppose the legislation. It sounded like there were three votes for more government regulation of the financial industry. For those of you who are involved in it, you're attorneys for banks or attorneys for financial institutions, I think you would attest to the fact that there's no absence of guidance from the federal government about how to run your operation. The absolute last thing we need is to try and put even more burden on our financial institutions. They compete globally too for capital. And so if you think we can clamp down by making it difficult for a U.S. financial institution to run its operations, the problems that we faced globally in this financial crisis won't go away. That money will simply flow someplace else. Look, the problem that needs to be addressed is not greedy folks who working hard to build their businesses, who did in fact create great harm to lots of folks here in Kansas. The problem is government. This president and Democrats and liberal progressives got the holy grail. They got Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and put them in a place where they made an incentive for private institutions to loan money to folks into capital places that they had no business making those loans. And here in Kansas, we didn't do that. Our local community banks did not participate in that to a great degree. And so we're burdened by things that happened in Phoenix and LA and Tampa and Arizona and Las Vegas. The federal government drove bad behavior. And then when that bad behavior created a financial crisis, our largest banks came to the federal government and said, bail me out. So it was a heads I win, tails I win deal. Goldman Sachs, the big banks, walk into Washington, D.C. and said, if you don't write me a check for $750 billion by noon tomorrow, the world will end. That's not the way capitalism works. Capitalism works and says if you take chances and build a business and behave like an entrepreneur and succeed, you'll get the benefits. And when you make bad decisions and they don't work, well, you fail and suffer the costs of that. And that's the mistake. And this financial reform that's being proposed today is essentially a permanent bailout system. A system that says every time you all get in trouble, you big institutions get in trouble, we'll be there to have your back. That's wrong, Kansans know it.